Hello, welcome to Show Boys. My name is Mike. I'm back, and I'm here with my two friends, Nick and Chad, ready to talk about stuff and things. It's gonna be fun couple hours, hopefully. But yeah, how's it going, Nick?
Good stuff and things, stuff and things, or stuff and things, whichever you want.
Oh, wow. Yeah. First option, please.
We're
Okay,
gonna be talking about stuffing things. Your
stuffing and things.
pre-Thanksgiving go-to podcast, all things stuffing.
Is that enough to
Yeah.
have a podcast about?
Probably.
It's 2023. I'm sure there's probably a stuffing related podcast out there somewhere.
That just ended.
Yeah. Yeah, you doing well tonight?
Yeah, I'm doing okay.
Yeah. What about
Feeling
you,
a little
Chad?
sleepy.
I'm doing great. I'm here. Ready?
Nice.
He's alive. He's
Live. Yeah.
been holding the Switch all week.
How are your hands doing?
Much better than they were with the Steam Deck, that's for sure. So
the Steam Deck just prepared you for
it was like the workout prior to the
exactly.
Switch. Yeah.
So now you can just you built up that hand and wrist endurance for Tears of the Kingdom. Yeah, cool. So tonight we are gonna be catching each other up on we're having our first hybrid, like official hybrid. What's watching and what's playing. We've had, a few episodes where we talk about both, but we've made custom art for tonight, so it's official. We're just gonna be catching each other up on what we're watching and playing, and fun stuff like that. I know Chad has some pretty interesting stories he found on IGN that he was posting in Discord. Hopefully, we can get him to talk about that a little bit. But before we talk about anything, we got to shout out our top tier patrons, Tim B, Yusuf H, and Josie. Thank you guys so much. Thank you to our other patrons. You guys are awesome, and we really appreciate your support. And if you're wondering how you can support us, first, you can subscribe for free right here on YouTube. So do that. And then head over to patreon.com/showboyspodcast and check out the different tiers we have. You can sign up and support us monthly. It would be amazing. You get some exclusive perks and benefits for being a patron, such as, but not limited to, an exclusive episode for patrons only every month and some other cool things. So go check that out, patreon.com/showboyspodcast. And I guess while I was gone, we got over the 400 subscriber mark, which is awesome. I feel like I should leave more often. Maybe we can finally give this Switch away. So yeah, we get to 1,000 subscribers. We're gonna give a Switch away. It's an OLED. It's nice. It's white. It's shiny. Has a big screen. Does the OLED have a bigger screen, or is it just brighter?
Yeah, it's bigger screen.
Bigger and brighter.
I would venture to say significantly bigger screen, actually.
There you go. You're gonna want to get your hands on it so you can play Tears of the Kingdom, because I heard that's a pretty great game. So subscribe to all your friends too, and we can give that away. I think we're doing another little treat when we hit 500 subs, so subscribe. All right, all that stuff's out of the way. Tell us about some of these stories you stumbled across today, Chad.
Yeah, so I was scrolling. I can't remember where I pulled it off of Facebook or something, and there was a article that IGN had done that said that the Redfall developers had hoped that the game would be canceled or rebooted. If you read further into the article, I think the thing I shared in Discord said canceled. If you read further into the article, they were hoping that it would be either canceled or rebooted as a single player game. After 2 years of development into the game, they were hoping it's after the Microsoft acquisition. So we know how Redfall panned out review-wise, and the game looks broken beyond recognition. I know there are some people that are having fun with it, but even I think Bio was like talking bad about it in Discord now. So maybe there aren't people that are having fun with it, because I think he was the only one that I had heard that was. But yeah, it just like blew me away. Like they're just sitting there working on this game, and they're like, "Man, really wish this freaking game would just get canceled, bro." Like it's so bad. If the developers think it's bad, you've got a problem on your hands, right?
That it raises so many questions. Like, if you're the developer and you think it's bad enough to want it to be canceled, can't you just make it not bad since you're the developer?
You would think, yeah.
Um,
But then again, you're 2 years into it, so you're about, in today's games, you're like a little less than halfway through development. Maybe it's too late. Maybe it's just the groundwork is just laid terribly. You know what I mean? Like they're building the house and it's falling apart every other day, and they're just
Yeah.
like, there's no hope.
and then I don't know. I don't know if it was in our Discord or if it was somewhere else. Where maybe like because of the Microsoft acquisition, like Microsoft was tinkering and like giving them direction on the game, and maybe they didn't like it, so they're like, just cancel it.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I think that the parent company at the time, which I can't remember the name of it, because I've never heard of it, ZeniMax or something like that, was pushing the game to be a multiplayer game. And I think the developers were wanting it to be a single player game. But obviously the parent company is overruling the decisions there probably. So they're pushing it to be a multiplayer game. So I think that's probably where some anger came from the developer side. That would be annoying if you're trying to make a single player game and your parent company's like, no, it needs to be multiplayer. You know what I mean?
That's your worst nightmare.
Yeah, it is. And I'm hearing people complain about the new Spider-Man game not being multiplayer because you can switch. Similarly to Grand Theft Auto 5, you can switch between the two Spider-Mans at any time, and they want multiplayer. Like, Insomniac's like, no, it's single player.
Just because there's multiple characters doesn't mean it has to be multiplayer.
No. Like, would it be cool? Sure. Is it worth a visit after release? Maybe. Are they going to work it into this game is supposedly huge. I don't think they have time to be working on a multiplayer component, you know?
ZeniMax is, I think, the parent studio of like Bethesda and all that.
Yeah, they're tied. Yeah, they're tied to
ZeniMax Media Inc.
Yeah, and I think that's who bought.
And then Xbox Game Studios bought them in 2021.
Right. Yeah.
Yep. And they have Arcane Studios, ARK,
Redfall. Yeah.
Alpha Dog, Bethesda, ID, Machine Games, Roundhouse, Tango, and then ZeniMax Online, which is like Elder Scrolls Online makers. Yeah. I was like, I'm pretty sure I've seen the ZeniMax logo around, but
yeah,
it's always baked in with these other ones.
It was that one random summer that you and I played ESO for like 3 months. So I was looking, it was in our Discord. Biosiv said, like, the original concept got changed by Microsoft and the devs tanked the game hoping it got canceled, ?
Fair play.
It's a fair question. That was definitely funny, but not nearly as funny as the other thing you shared in our Discord about Tears of the Kingdom.
Yeah, that one's so good, dude. That was literally right before I came down here. So I didn't get a chance. I don't even know if there's an article tied to it, but it was two people in Japan got jobs at Amazon for the sole purpose of stealing copies of Tears of the Kingdom. And I said, I need a high stakes heist movie around this topic immediately. So
I feel like the pacing of that movie would be much like Fanboys. They would be perfect. Like just serious enough, but just like ridiculous enough.
Right. Like an Ocean's. I need like an Ocean's 11 style heist movie about these two guys in Japan getting jobs at Amazon just so they could steal 2 copies of freaking Tears of the Kingdom.
Is that because it landed at the warehouse before it?
Yeah, certainly. When I worked at
that's crazy.
That unnamed game store, they would get games really early, like really early, months in advance. So
that I could see
of, the unnamed game store.
Yeah, which is funny now because like the dude that I worked there left, and I don't know anybody there, and that company's folding. So I could probably just say it because I'm not ever going to work there again. But
yeah,
it's GameStop. In case anybody didn't know, it's GameStop. Just so we're clear, in case you didn't know what the unnamed game store was I was talking about.
Yeah, GameStop I get. It's just weird that they would do that to Amazon because Amazon's there's just so many unchecked people. You know what I mean? Like GameStop, like you have few employees, they're passionate about the game, they're less likely to just do that to their own community. Whereas like Amazon, like
yeah, there's like 100 people working in each place. Like, just
yeah,
roll
and,
in there.
you know,
steal
it's not
it,
like they're
go.
all gamers. They're just
Yeah.
moving packages around. So maybe
Right.
it's kind of safe in that sense, but I don't know. That just seems weird
just
that they would
like-
preload that like that.
Dealing stolen copies out of their trunk.
Yeah.
Like, they just have like
Yeah. I don't know,
100.
man. I'll have to see. I don't, like I said, I don't even know if there was an article tied to it. I'm curious if they like stole boxes of them, then that would make sense. But it's even funnier if they
It's
legit
they
just stole two
wanted-
copies.
Yeah.
Just 2 copies of the game. They
I
just
hope
wanted
it's
to
just
play
2
the game.
copies.
That would
I
be
really
so
hope
funny.
it is.
They must not have had that deal running at the unnamed game store over there. in
Right.
Japan, 'cause
Right.
That's
over in Japan.
practically steal in its own right. Yeah, funny stuff. So thank you for sharing those. That was great. So yeah, tonight we're just gonna be talking about what we've been watching, what we've been playing. Have you guys been watching or playing much of things lately?
I've been watching things.
Yeah. I've actually been surprised by what you've been posting in Discord, Nick. You've posted about 2 movies.
Yeah.
2.
I've watched 2 movies this week.
Oh no.
That's wild.
And I think they're in the same evening.
Whoa.
What?
Maybe not.
What's the
Maybe
world
not.
coming to?
That doesn't seem right.
Yeah.
That doesn't
That's not
seem
enough
right.
hours.
That's like 5 hours of sitting in front of your TV.
Yeah.
So what brought this sudden desire to start watching movies?
Well, so I mean, I forget what it was. I was like, a month ago, I was like, I need to get back to watching like movies that actually get nominated for things because like those ones interest me because usually they're good for some odd reason.
Mhm.
And not try to like chase down like random movies that like people on the internet talk about. Because I think that's just where I get lost. I'm just like, this isn't interesting. So there's like a huge backlog there, but all the memes of Pedro Pascal and Nicolas Cage, like I would just see those, and I'm just like, I need to watch this movie because
Yeah.
one, that GIF meme
the
reel is just
best.
hilarious.
Literally the best.
It's so appropriate, and then we just kept seeing it, so like that was enough right there. And plus I read, because I was like, what is this from? Like, what movie is this from? One is Nicolas Cage, 2 is Pedro Pascal, who's like the biggest, not the biggest, but he's pretty big deal right now. Like he's kind of everywhere.
Yeah.
So I was like, need to watch this. And then I read the brief on it, and I was like, well, that's interesting. It's about Nicolas Cage playing like himself, but like, you know, a made up version of Nicolas Cage himself, loosely based on like his, I guess, essence of like what I guess probably is kind of true about him. So I thought that was interesting. I was like, okay, I'll have to eventually watch it. So we finally watched it. We rented it.
You want to say what movie it is?
The Unbearable Weight of Massive Talent.
Yeah.
I had to
It's
write
such
that
good-
down because
Such a good title.
It's so great.
it's so long. And if you Google that in different orders, they come up as searches because people search it all the different ways.
Yeah.
Like, so if you do like the massive weight of Unbearable Talent, that is a valid search. So yeah, watched that with the wife. Well, she watched the first half and fell asleep right before the meme part.
Oh
like,
no, she
literally
didn't see it.
minutes right before it.
Aw.
And I look over, she fell asleep, and it came on. I was like, nice. She missed it. But it was pretty, you know, so I know people who love Nicolas Cage, or maybe they loved him right in the 90s and 2000s because that's when he was kind of like peak zeitgeist Nicolas
Yeah.
Cage, and then he entered like a very weird stage in his career where he's just
Yeah.
kind of an enigma. Like you can't put your thumb on it.
Yeah, it's just ironic love now, or like meme love. Like people love the crazy persona that Nicolas Cage now is, or like
yeah,
they love the embodiment of absolutely terrible acting in like C movies. We're not even at like B movies anymore
Yeah.
with Nicolas Cage. We're like, yeah, it's bad.
Straight to the dollar bin.
Yeah,
It's not even straight to video. It's just straight to the dollar bin.
Yeah, Joe Cross, he says, I just refuse to believe Nick watched a movie. Well, he
Oh,
watched
it happened.
2
I watched 2
movies.
movies. But that's exactly what the movie like plays off of, is this weird like enigma, enter the zeitgeist, Nicolas Cage embodiment. And it's pretty good. Like if you I think you people who like seriously like him, ironically like him, and then also I think if you hate him, like you're not gonna like the movie. But if you seriously or ironically like him, you'll like the movie. So like if you're there because he's like meme gold, you'll like it. If you're there because you legit liked him from like the 90s and like Face Off's your favorite movie, you're gonna like it too. Um, but like while you're watching, I was just thinking, that's where I think we should do, either we power rank his movies or we really eventually dive into like, is he actually a good actor or is he not? Because
Yeah.
Yeah.
the movie plays so well into that. You're like, was he actually a good actor back then? Is he still a good actor now?
Yeah.
Like, is he a good actor just in terrible movie? Like that, there are all these questions, and there's just too much data to like think
Yes.
through and just arrive at like, oh yeah, he's shitty actor.
Yeah, I mean, I think he
Like,
was.
but there's
He
big arguments that he's not. It's so weird.
Yeah. I mean, I think he's a good '90s actor. Like he really
But
funneled
was
in
he?
through the '90s. But was he? Yeah, I don't
See,
know.
because we
That's
were
what I
all
mean.
I mean,
kids and adolescents in the 90s,
right.
so like anyone who was in a movie or a show was a good actor
Was a good actor. Yeah,
we
it's
didn't
true.
know any better.
It's true. I go back to the movie that I think of him in is Matchstick Men. I brought it up before. He's so good in that movie, dude. Like phenomenal performance from him.
What comes
That's
to
right.
mind for you, Nick, in terms of Nicolas Cage movie? The first one that pops up.
I guess like National Treasure. Like that's just kind of like a staple for me.
Yeah.
And then honestly like Face Off. And that's the thing, like they're so far ago. And like then my mind starts to wander into like Ghost Rider, and then like all the terrible roles he's in, and then like my memory gets kind of like muddied and I get confused about like, why do I care? Like, is he a good actor? Like, it's just such a weird.
I think
He
it's
is
because
so
he's
bizarre.
he's one of those guys that just took every freaking role that came his way. You know what I mean? That's why he's like this now, because he took terrible roles that he should have never taken. And it's just it's over flooded with these terrible roles now. So they're overshadowing the really good roles that he has.
Yeah.
Con Air, Matchstick Men, Face Off.
Con Air comes to mind. Gone in 60 Seconds.
Gone
is
in
the
60
other one
Seconds.
that
That's
comes to
probably my
mind.
favorite
Great.
Nicolas Cage movie.
What's the... Oh, man, I'm slipping on the one where he's like a Navy SEAL, or maybe not a Navy SEAL. Maybe he's attacking Navy SEALs at Alcatraz.
Also, Lord of War.
What is the name of that movie?
He's probably credited in like 300 movies.
Oh, for sure. For sure. Yeah.
The one that I want to watch The Unbearable Weight. That looks hilarious. But the one that really caught my attention from a couple of years ago was Pig. I still haven't seen it.
That's the truffle pig where he's the chef.
It's the Nicolas Cage John Wick movie about a truffle pig.
Yeah, that did look actually really good. I'm not gonna lie.
But is it? I think it's one of those.
It's one of those
goods.
terrible. Like, let me rephrase that. Good for a Nicolas Cage movie today.
Yeah.
What is the name of that freaking? Oh, Knowing. I really liked Knowing. I don't know if you guys have ever seen Knowing, where he has like premonitions of the end of the world. This is gonna drive me nuts. The Rock. That's what I'm thinking of. Like the quintessential.
Oh yeah.
You know,
they talk about that in the movie. That's the thing is the movie does a really good job at like it hits on the points of the serious, like he was legit, but then like it extremely makes fun of the points in his career where like it was laughable.
Yeah.
And he's so self-aware of it. And he comes from the Coppola family. So like Francis Ford, like very renowned like directors and like movie makers, so like it's in his blood. So it's like, is he just, and in the movie there's a bit where he's kind of like explaining it, and you know it's like an art to him, like he treats it like a job. So the way he explained it in the movie, obviously the character, he explained it like it's more like a job. Like, Chad, you're not just gonna go fight fires some nights and be like, oh yeah, that was a really good one. I'm gonna take a few months off, and then he's like, this is what I do. So like, no matter what, I'm gonna take a role and I'm gonna play it as part of like the art form, the craft. It's my job. He treats it more like that. And that was, I guess, a way to explain like through like why would he take these ridiculous roles?
Yeah.
Whereas, do you only take the good like firefights? Like Mike, do you only take the good title assignments? No.
Yes, actually, I do.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
But yeah,
You're very active.
bad
like
example. When you ask the person who assigns out the work, yes. But yeah, no, it's a good point. But at the same time, when you're, I think it's a little different as an actor, or like you could even throw in like musicians. Like you can pick and choose where you want to perform or what you want to perform in. Unless maybe Nicolas Cage racked up millions of dollars in debt somehow over,
I mean, I think he
after
did.
the
Yeah.
success of his career. And then he's like, oh crap, I do actually have to treat this as a job now.
I think that's funneling a lot of him taking terrible roles for sure.
Yeah.
I'm glad that at least one of us has seen Unbearable Weight, because when it came out, I was like, I really want to watch this. And then it just, because I don't watch many movies, kind of got swept under the rug.
Yeah.
and if Pedro wasn't in it, it would probably definitely not be nearly as good, because then you have like Shining Pedro, who is like, he's another one. Like, is he a good actor, or is he just like really good at being Pedro and everything? Because like, I mean, Joel, I mean, he's not the most like deep character.
Yeah,
like he's more of a grunter. And then Mandalorian, yeah, you know, kind of wears his helmet the whole time, just has a few grunty lines.
Monotone pretty well.
Yeah. So, you know, but he's like very popular, obviously, but he does take other roles, but he's just good too. And he really kind of makes the movie. He balances it with definitely something that's more newer, actually people that like actively know like, hey, we love you, dude. Versus like Nicolas Cage, he's a little bit more on the fence in terms of like the love-hate crowd.
Yeah.
And then he has the third like ironic love crowd.
Yeah.
Or maybe there's an ironic hate in there too. I don't know. He's got a spectrum of fans, but a nice, well-balanced movie.
Nice.
And it's definitely worth a watch.
Nice. Where did you rented it?
Yeah, I just rented it on Google. You can't stream it anywhere. Unless you have like, I think it's Stars, if you have the Stars package on any of the 200 services that offer the add-on. Because you look it up, I hate that when that happens now, because everything says it's on everything for the premium subscription. And remember, premium is not just a subscription. It's the extra like $5-10 to put on like a Stars pack to it.
Yeah, it's the Nintendo Switch Online plus expansion pack plus.
Yeah. The Stars expansion plus HBO Max.
Also, I feel like Stars and Showtime are like
Showtime's the other one.
Just like the redheaded stepchildren of streaming services. Like, I often forget that those even exist until random things like this come up.
Right. They're the last two picks on the dodgeball team.
Yeah.
They have to be picked, and like someone has to pick them eventually, and they're just there on the team.
Yeah. They're just the hungry dog waiting for scraps under the table. So we put up a poll on our community tab here on the YouTube page. So we're trying to utilize that more, by the way, anyone who's listening. We throw up polls and post semi-frequently over on the community tab on our YouTube channel. So make sure you're checking that out. Yesterday I threw one up asking everyone if they're watching stuff more or playing stuff more these days. If they're into the gaming side of entertainment, or just binging shows or movies. And it was actually a tie, 50-50, even watching and playing. So that was interesting. But we did get a few comments. Dark Warrior 831 said he's watching Supernatural and Star Wars The Clone Wars. You can never go wrong with Clone Wars. And then, of course, Ugly Kid Joe Cross 3385 says TotK. What's that?
No idea. Tears of the Kingdom.
Yeah.
Yeah,
that's
come
right.
on, bro.
I know. I was
You
trolling.
just said it weird.
Yeah. Whenever I see that like acronym, I just think of TikTok for some reason.
Yeah, that's fair.
And it just triggers me.
Rathill Lich King slips into my brain like halfway there.
Oh,
Just because
yeah.
like the
Yeah.
lowercase t and capital
That's
K.
true. That's true. Yeah, so thank you guys for voting and commenting. So just make sure you check that out. We're posting stuff over there. Yeah. What about you, Chad? You watching or playing anything besides Zelda?
Yeah. Not playing on the playing side, but yeah, I've been watching, and you guys are gonna laugh, and you're just gonna have to get over it. But I have restarted Game of Thrones and House of the Dragon, even though we've done a massive companion series in Game of Thrones. It's still, but at the current moment, I'm not watching it. I'm like hitting the high notes, you know what I mean, through the seasons. I'm not watching it all. There used to be really good YouTube channels where you could go like all Oberyn Martell scenes, and then they'd be all in one YouTube video, or all
I bet you watched the crap out of that.
You used to watch the
Martell
crap
highlight reel.
Yeah, you used to watch the crap out of them. Tywin's were really good too, like all Tywin scenes compiled together, but they're not on there anymore. I think HBO has like shut that down, and it really kind of annoys me for two reasons.
Ooh.
Like, I get that HBO owns this stuff, but this is not the way that people are going to watch Game of Thrones. Like, it's not telling a story in any capacity. It's just their scenes. You know what I mean? And some of them, like Oberyn, it's like all in one season, and they're like 2-minute scenes a piece. Like, you're not getting a lot. And I don't want to go through each episode and be like, okay, scroll until I see Oberyn. Oh, there he is.
They want those view hours, man. You gotta
get
give
it.
them to them.
I get it, but maybe do these yourself, HBO. Hire an intern.
It's Max now. They completely
Max. Yeah, they did.
Even more weirdly, they didn't just rebrand the app. You have to install a new app.
A new app. Oh, dude, yeah.
I'm like, you guys are idiots.
Yeah,
like,
absurd.
now I'm annoyed.
That shows you how much I've been watching anything lately. I didn't even realize that they renamed it, let alone re-apped
it's a new app. It sucks. It's not like, it doesn't tie to any of the Apple stuff yet. Like, it's like a first iteration of an app when HBO Max was running flawlessly. You could have just changed the logo to Max. Why? What's the point?
Rename the app, change the logo, the splash screen, boom.
It feels like it's way more difficult.
It's Max now.
No
one cares.
No, nobody cares. You didn't have to make a whole new app. And the annoying thing is, like, if you're trying to use the HBO Max app doesn't work at all now. Like, that's just they moved everything over. So if you had it, like, I have mine tied into the iPad, so it's showing like what I'm playing on my actual TV app. It's not there anymore. It's just gone.
I mean, it's just like Kit Kat decide, you know what, we're just gonna call ourselves Kits. Or I don't know, add something to our name, Kit Kat Max, and then we're gonna drop the Kit Kat and we're just gonna be called Max Candy now. Like, why would you ditch the like 30-year-old 3 letters?
No sense.
That everyone knows you by.
Right.
Like, you were ahead of the game because you already just called yourself HBO for the past like 30 years, while everyone else is trying to like slim it down.
Yeah. Is it though? Like, I feel like it's not anymore. I was going to say, like, HBO, when we were growing up, kind of had a bad rap, right? Because they had some maybe adult stuff on there a lot.
It's just because there was adult shows, and then there was like legit like softcore porn like after midnight.
But that stuff's like gone now, right? Like, that's not part of their reputation anymore. Not in my eyes, at least.
Possibly be. Are they thinking like maybe there is some whatever you call it, like customer not feedback, but like when they like preview like movies and they get the initial reactions, and then they're like, oh,
from focus groups and stuff.
Yeah, like maybe there's some focus groups that are like, HBO kind of has like a real like adult porno like vibe to it. It's like, I don't know. I really kind of just associate with like Game of Thrones and The Wire, and a lot of really good television, Sopranos, but that's just me.
Right.
I also find like just a streaming service being like a human name weird.
Max. Yeah.
Max. From Stranger Things, right?
You would think if anything they would drop the Max and just become HBO again. Like,
what are you watching? I'm watching HBO.
I wonder if that was like
Kevin.
So all the Warner, I wonder if that was like in the fine print of the Warner Brothers deal or something. Like eventually you got to dump the HBO.
It has to
name.
have something to do with the Discovery merger there.
Right.
Not good though. They probably could have thought through that a little better.
Speaking of Game of Thrones, though, that they come up this week. I was at the chiropractor and he randomly just watched the episode where Tywin gets introduced. I'm like, oh yeah, that's a great episode.
So
but
good,
then I
yeah.
was like, once basically every streaming service needs this feature. Once you've watched the entire season or the entire anything, right, entire season and the entire series, you get the shuffle unlock button that then you can just shuffle the series, right?
Yes.
That's
Dude,
pretty
I would be down for that. That's what I'm saying, dude. Like I mean, really I'm shuffling myself, but it would be nice to just hit play and let it shuffle through, you know?
Well, the problem I would have with like saying, oh, I'm gonna just pick a random Game of Thrones one to watch. I'm gonna spend like 20 minutes like going
Trying to
through all the
figure out,
shows, be like,
yeah.
which one do I want to watch?
Right. But
So
it's
like I
just
just want to be like, anyone, pick one, go.
Yeah.
That's the fun of it.
Yeah. And I feel like if HBO, or I'm sorry, if Max just hired an intern and
Who's
had
Max?
them
No.
compile these character like videos where it's like all the scenes of the specific character, throw them on your YouTube channel, you're going to get
put 'em on the
millions
app.
of views. Or put them on the app. Yeah. Put them on the app. Because
And I feel-
everybody's, for the most part, everybody's watched Game of Thrones, right? Like, I feel like everybody I know has watched Game of Thrones. So you're going to eventually get people to be like, man, I just want to watch Tywin scenes. That's all. I just want to get a little taste of Tywin before I go to bed.
I do like Disney because I feel like they're the most forward thinking when it comes to like that kind of stuff, because they have playlists like sections and like Star Wars and Marvel where it's like, here's the essential Clone Wars episodes, here's all of the Darth Vader movie, like everything that's about Darth Vader. So
Yeah.
they're kind of they are the only ones that I see that kind of like curate these custom lists of the stuff. So when you're feeling a certain vibe, like here's all the Obi-Wan stuff. Like obviously you have to watch it all. It's not quite like you're saying, but at least they're in that direction. Whereas like everyone else is just like pick an episode. And
I will say Netflix does have a thing where you can it'll play something random. You're just like,
that's too freaking random.
Yeah,
too
no,
random.
that's like service wide, but
my luck, I'll get
it's a possibility
3-hour movie
because
I hate.
Yeah, it'd be awful for you. But it does exist in some capacity, so it could be refined, like you're talking about to a specific series.
Shuffle sitcoms I've watched, like do that, like that would be cool.
And there's still like some YouTube channels that are doing these compilations, and they're just bad compared to the ones that I used to watch. Like the ones before were like all the scenes. These ones are like cutting the scene halfway. I'm like, why? You might as well just put the extra 30 seconds in there. I don't get why you cut the last 30 seconds off. But it's good for like the Night King stuff because there's not that much of it. You don't really know where to find it. Like I don't remember what episode.
Like a 10-minute highlight clip.
Yeah, just like like a 20-minute clip of all the Night King stuff. But
pretty sad.
Outside of that, I did restart House of the Dragon, which I have not done yet. This is my second time watching it. It's always nice to see if I'm going to like it as much the second time as I did the first time. And turns out, I love it still. So,
oh, did you rewatch every episode when we did the CS?
You're talking like bi-weekly? Watch them twice?
Like
you're
every
saying?
like every week you watched it. Okay.
I guess that
I kind of count that as twice.
Yeah,
I've
I guess
seen
that
it
technically
twice.
counts. Yeah, I guess that counts.
But yeah, I get.
And this is like my first time binging it too.
Yeah, yeah, I could see like definitely like a year later, like rewatching. Like now, how do you feel about it?
Right. Yeah. Yeah. It's always nice to go back. But yeah, they just. So I've been playing a lot of Tears of the Kingdom. When I played Breath of the Wild, I was watching through Game of Thrones, and they just go so good together. And I was like, I want that feeling again going through Tears of the Kingdom. So I just had to. I'm like, we just did the companion series like not that long ago, and I rewatched the entire series. But
it wasn't that long. I feel like that was a little while ago. That was last year, wasn't it?
Yeah. I mean, it was last year, but it's not in the grand scheme of the podcast that long ago.
Well, I guess. Fair.
And then are we just rattling through everything that we watched? Or are we going around?
No, we'll go around.
Okay.
We got Michael.
I did-
Showboysmedia.com.
Yeah, subscribe, suckers. I watched my first Marvel movie since whenever the last Spider-Man was. So it's been a while. Went and saw Guardians 3 with the father-in-law, which was the story itself is hilarious because my brother-in-law, so we have like the three of us have been going to movies every Tuesday that we can. It's discount night at our local Cinemark theater. So we've been going, and I just kind of tag along. They always pick the movies, and I've seen some bangers like The Covenant, which was I'm being sarcastic. It was pretty average. We did watch Sisu, which was pretty good, which was essentially like the finished John Wick fighting Nazis.
Yeah,
which was
It
pretty
looked cool. Yeah.
But then my brother-in-law was like, hey, let's go see Guardians 3 next week or whatever. So we're like, okay. And then Tuesday rolls around. He's like, actually, I can't go. So I was expecting the father-in-law to be like, all right, whatever. I don't really want to see this movie because, it's not like he's a big Marvel guy. But he was like, all right, what time do you want me to come pick you up? And I was like, okay, cool. We're still going to see this. Let's do it. It was pretty good. Not going to lie. I feel like it was a pretty good wrap up to the Guardians trilogy. They set it up so the Guardians aren't necessarily gone. They're just maybe restructured a little bit. So
I'm a baseball right now. I'm kidding.
I wish our Guardians would be gone. They're pretty terrible. Anyways, it had its Guardians flair, the James Gunn, humor.
Soundtrack.
But soundtrack was great. It was very great, and I really appreciate how he interjects the music into the scenes. And I watched a video of someone explaining, or maybe it was from a quote from James Gunn. I don't remember exactly. But essentially, when he puts a song on screen, he really puts forth a lot of effort to pick songs that describe what a certain character is going through. And then when he puts it on the screen, he uses that as like explaining their demeanor or whatever. The song is very specific to what that character is going through when it's on the screen. So I thought that was pretty cool. Sometimes when it comes to music choice in movies or shows, sometimes it's an afterthought, but sometimes in this case, like it's very thought out. And there was a really cool movie Edgar Wright did called Baby Driver that
great movie.
Utilized music very well, and a lot of stuff that they did in the movie was like on beat to the song playing, which was amazing. Love when stuff like that happens. But Guardians 3 really focuses on Rocket Raccoon, and his story is very, very interesting. It was very interesting. It's pretty sad. The villain was awesome. The High Evolutionary had some really great like practical effects for his costume and his face and stuff. Overall, it was a pretty fun movie. Got the first F-bomb in the MCU. Yeah. I mean, it's PG-13. You're allowed one, and they used it. Chris Pratt, of course, who else would it come from? Like just ad-libbed it in the scene, and they just kept it, and the scene is hysterical. So yeah, I'd recommend Guardians 3. I don't think I really think the praise that MCU movies get, especially the recent ones, it's just so absurd. Like it was a good movie, but like not.
Wait, there's praise?
I mean, yeah.
Don't they mostly get dragged to the mud these days?
From ordinary people, yes, but like this one was widely appreciated by audiences and critics. But again, it's not like anything groundbreaking. It was a solid,
Right.
fun movie. I'd recommend it if you're into that stuff. It was a good re-entry for me, though. Some parts I was a little confused because I've been out of the MCU for so long.
7 out of 10 would recommend.
Yeah, solid 7.1 out of 10.
Dang, that's steep.
It's good. It's a good movie.
Nice.
Not excellent, but good. So let's. You got another one for us, Nick?
Well, on
Watching
that
or
note,
playing?
I
Oh.
completely forgot. I have a third movie that I watched this week.
Oh no.
Three?
Sit down. Stand up, maybe.
Oh my goodness.
But so I was talking to someone and they're talking about like some Marvel movies. And I've been like saving those up. Like I have not watched any in quite a while. So I went down to the section on Disney Plus of everything in order because I like that list. I wish it was up higher in the Marvel section because that's the only one I watch. I'm just like everything in order. Side note, yes, 3 movies.
Joe
This
says
is real
this
life.
isn't real life. 3 movies?
I'm on a
He's
kick.
watched almost as many movies as he used question marks in that comment.
Almost. I might remember a 4th in here. What was I saying? Oh, now problem. They've updated these in order timeline sections to not just be movies for Marvel at least. I think the same for Star Wars. They have all the shows, all the shorts. So like the 3 Groot like shorts show up in there peppered throughout. And I'm like, literally everything is in order.
That's
everything.
Nice.
And I was
Nice.
like, this is really long. Because it's not just the movies anymore. I'm like, this is kind of like too much, but I eventually got to where I needed to be, like far down the way. So all that to say, I think Black Panther was technically the next one in order, but the reviews were so mixed there. I went to the next nearest one I was more interested in. That was Quantumania. So I watched Quantumania and I enjoyed it. I thought it was it was a fun movie. I like those movies just because they do like some really weird stuff when we're talking about like the quantum realm and all that crap. And I guess I could get how maybe I'm not sure why people didn't like that movie, but I guess I was trying to guess why some people didn't like that movie, and maybe it was just how much they like actually put context into the quantum realm. Like, spoiler alert, there's like people that live there. So it's almost like a universe, way deep down, small universe within our universe. So I don't know if that was like weird for people, but kind of felt like a little bit Guardians 3. But my big takeaway while I was watching, I was like, I guess if you want Star Wars in a different franchise, you just go down to the quantum level and reinvent Star Wars within the quantum level, because that's what the quantum realm in Marvel basically was. It was Star Wars.
Nice.
Like, even with the plot and the aesthetic, like, it's kind of Star Wars. Very strange.
How was Kang a cool character?
Yeah, because he's like kind of the he's like the outcast Kang that got I don't want to spoil it for main people if there's too much to spoil, but like he's the Kang that gets banished to the quantum realm from all the other Kangs. And his whole bit was like, I need to get out of here so I can save everything from ending by ending everything. That was like his bit, and everyone's like, no. But Paul Rudd's really funny in that because
no.
He's like, because he did there's Paul Rudd's funny.
Did Michael Pena do his like?
Oh, so good. That's recap, the best part. Yeah.
Because in the first two,
no Pena. That must be why people hated it.
No Pena at all.
Wow, racist.
Oh,
I call him calling it right
0.
now.
Bummer, dude. Those are some of the best parts of those first 2 movies, dude.
Those
so good.
Those parts are hysterical.
They're hilarious.
Yeah.
And that and the other thing that I love about, I think it's the first Ant-Man when they're like having the fight on the train table, and it's like this huge Marvel fight, but then it like zooms out and the train just like tips off the thing. It's so good, dude. So I felt like this movie was maybe going to cut a lot of that out because they're in the quantum realm or whatever. So you're not getting a lot of the little Marvel dudes fighting in big open areas, you know?
You get some of that, but it's weird just because it is the quantum realm, so you're a little bit more tripped up on just like weird things they're doing within there. But the other part of it is that like they did make it seem a little bit too normal to reality, because at
Yeah.
like one part there's like a legit like cantina scene, and it's like, yeah, I'm serious. The plot of this movie is
Straight Star Wars.
episode
yeah.
4.
Yeah.
It's episode 4. It's ridiculous. I kept thinking, I'm like, are they gonna get sued? Like this is it's like a hard rip on Star Wars because the plot so much. I was just like,
Well,
the
problem with that is that episode 4 is a complete rip of an old samurai movie. You know what I mean? So they're like, it's just the constant stealing of this specific story.
Yeah, this is like the it's beyond the story. So like literally Kang has stormtroopers. Like they don't look like stormtroopers, but they look like stormtroopers. The same idea of them, just like they're all the same, identical like enforcer thugs that have taken over this galaxy. It's weird. There's literally a cantina scene. Smuggler. You've got the knight. Basically, I think Paul Rudd is Luke Skywalker. I enjoyed it though, but
awesome.
definitely a lot to take out of it in terms of picking it apart. But I enjoyed it.
Nice. Would you say it was a fun movie?
It was a fun movie. I had a lot of fun with it.
Sorry for not staying on top of the comments tonight. Dad is not behind the scenes. He's out tonight. So earlier Joe said no, he's picking his daughter up from work, so he may or may not be here. Joe said earlier, need to watch Seven Kings Must Die still.
I have watched 4 movies then.
Wow.
Oh, no.
This is just absurd.
This is just absurd. This is
I've seen that movie.
I don't even know. Yeah, I don't even know what to do now.
I'm here. I'm back.
He also said earlier that he could see Cinemax becoming Max, but not HBO, which I think makes a lot of sense. That makes a lot of sense there.
It does.
Cinemax exists.
Yeah, it's one of those redheaded stepchildren of the streaming services.
What shows do they have?
And then he said, nailed it. Now my question marks make sense. See, there you go. You called it, Joe.
He reminded me of my 4th movie. I've seen it it was like 2 or 3 weeks ago when it came out. Well, I saw it whenever it came out, but I have not talked about it. Probably because I was waiting for you to watch it, Mike.
Oh yeah, I still haven't watched it.
What a worth. Never mind.
The my boss, actually, big fan of The Last Kingdom. He said that Seven Kings Must Die was pretty rad. So gotta watch it. Chad, what else have you been consuming?
So I again attempted to watch the Lord of the Rings series. And it was prior to my thought of going back to Game of Thrones and House of the Dragon. And according to my app, so I watched the first 2 episodes when it released.
Okay.
I started the 3rd episode, and according to my app, I got 4 minutes into it before I turned it off. I want to so badly just power through it. It's just, I don't know, dude. It's just not hitting. We know that Lord of the Rings doesn't hit much notes for me. I find Lord of the Rings just repulsively boring. But I thought the show would maybe, it's newer, better effects. I don't know.
Was this you're talking about the show, or did you try to watch the movies?
No, I didn't try to watch the movies. I will never watch those movies ever again. Watched all 3 of the extended versions.
Oh, you've seen them once. You're good, though.
I'm good. Yeah. I'm totally good. Like 4-hour movies. And I think they were like back-to-back nights at the fire department, like back-to-back-to-back. So it was like 4-hour movies every night. It's like, that's enough for a lifetime for me. But yeah, I don't know, dude. It's just like once I get into Lord of the Rings, I'm like, I could be watching Game of Thrones or House of the Dragon. Like, why am I watching this?
Let's get the magic set with Joe. And let's play Lord of the Rings. Magic.
It's the day before my birthday, guys. Yeah, I'm gonna say, Chad, if you found the movies to be lame, you're gonna hate this show.
Yeah, that seems to be compared. And then I had thought about trying to watch the Hobbit movies. I know that the Hobbit movies are pretty well hated, I believe, but so are the prequel movies for Star Wars, which I love. So I was thinking, like, maybe maybe I like the Hobbit movies more than the original. I don't know.
The first Hobbit's good. The second one's okay, and the fourth one's okay.
Okay, but where you land on the Lord of the Rings movies?
Oh, they're phenomenal.
Yeah, they're all like mediocre to good for me.
Well,
Now I don't even know if
Hobbit
it
ones are
creeps
gonna
good.
I don't know. You might like the Hobbit.
Right, that's what I'm thinking. See,
The Hobbit wasn't terrible. The thing that
No.
I couldn't jive with the Hobbit was the switch to like 100% CGI effects.
Yeah, but
Because
like
I love
prequels.
the practical stuff in
Yeah.
the main trilogy, and as soon as like the entire movie is green screen, and I'm just like, this hurts my eyeballs.
Yeah,
It
yeah.
does
I mean,
not look great.
I get that. I don't really have that problem because like the prequels are 100% CGI, right? And arguably bad CGI in some parts, and it doesn't really bother me. So I might try the Hobbit. I might just power through the first Hobbit movie, see how I do. I can't do it with the show. I've tried, man. I've tried. I tried multiple times.
Yeah, you should just stop.
Yeah.
I watched it for the podcast, and it does get it gets better. I don't know how many episodes, but it's like 4 or 5 episodes deep, where it's like, oh, okay, I'm interested now.
Yeah, but when people on Instagram started like highlighting just like specific dialogue sets, so like basically stripping away like any sort of like visual awe or just like I remember like when I was watching, I was definitely intrigued. I'm like, okay, this is this character. I know who this is. They're talking, and I'm more intrigued with like the characters and like what they're trying to do, and I'm trying to piece it all together. But when you grab like lines of dialogue just out of context and just treat it as like, is this a good line of dialogue? It's atrocious.
Yeah, it's bad.
And that's when I was like, ugh, bad luck.
Yeah, what did we say on our episode covering it? That it was aggressively mediocre?
Yeah, aggressively mediocre, yeah.
Very aggressive.
But that's how I feel about the movies, man. Like they're just okay. They're okay.
You should stop trying to watch this and try to watch Andor again.
Yeah,
you got to get through that.
That has some of the best dialogue in existence.
I do.
For Star Wars.
But again, like I try. You guys are gonna hate. I tried it again. I did watch 2 episodes, and it's just like it's just. I know that it gets better. It's just getting over that hump that it's difficult. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, I honestly have not had much time for watching or playing much stuff lately, but I did squeeze in a Netflix series. I think it's a 10 episode season here. Nice 30-minute episodes, right up Nick's alley. But I slammed through Beef on Netflix, and it was phenomenal. Like, great show. Chad, you'll hate it, so don't even. I don't know if you have tried watching it, but I'm just gonna save you the trouble. Just don't even. You're probably not gonna. Get into that.
Oh, you're passing notes on this. Made it seem like you're unsure about it, and now you're saying it was phenomenal.
Oh no, it's great. Yeah, I like your timestamp. I slammed some beef. Yeah, take that out of context if you want.
It's like quadruple entendre right there.
No, it's just a phenomenal tale of 2 people just self-destructing their lives because of unhinged anger that was the cause of like generational trauma. The show does such a great job of taking a really wacky premise, which is let me find it on IMDb, the 1 sentence summary of the show. But it takes this goofy premise of a show and turns it into a very thought-provoking and touching story of 2 lives just totally unraveling out of a simple act of rage, really. So here's the 1 sentence summary. Two people let a road rage incident burrow into their minds and slowly consume their every thought and action. So it sounds kind of fun, kind of goofy. It is a dark comedy, so it is a funny show, but it has it's very well presented dramatic moments. The cast is good. We have Stephen Yeun from Walking Dead. He plays Glenn in Walking Dead. Ali Wong is the other main character. Our boy Andrew Santino is in this movie, plays like a very side character. Nick's favorite David Cho is in this, has a decent role. But yeah, it's an A24 show. So with that comes the typical A24 flavor. It has its artistic flair, and it's kind of a slow burn, but once the show starts to ramp up, like it takes its typical A24 right turn into just pure chaos by like episode 5, where at the end of every episode I'm like, that escalated so like crazy, and I can't believe we are where we are. I also can't believe there's 4 episodes left, and I can't imagine this going much further. And then they continue to one up themselves as the episodes play out. But great story, presented extremely well. I loved it. And there's like just a lot of stuff that could be talked about this show. Go ahead.
Is it a drama, dark comedy? What's the
It's a dark comedy.
Okay. So is it like I don't know what you guys think about when you like envision playing out road rage moments in your mind, but is it like the epiphany of just like going all the way down your thoughts when you have road rage, like if you were to actually execute on that in real life? Because obviously like the thoughts I have when I am like triggered on the road, like I can't feasibly do any of them. I would end up in jail, and also derail my whole life. So I kind of envision this is kind of playing that out.
It's
like if you were to just go all the way with it.
Yeah, the opening scene is the incident essentially. It's like the first 5 or 10 minutes of the first episode is the road rage incident, and it's like kind of how you would imagine a thing of road rage playing out, but how it continues to escalate through the 10 episodes is nothing a sane person would ever do because of a road rage incident, which is the A24 flair. But yeah, it's just outside of the humor, because it is funny. There are a lot of really funny parts in this show. The drama side is really, really good, and it honestly, it just is kind of sad because you're seeing these two people on opposite ends of the life spectrum, but you see them at their lowest as they're dealing with this road rage incident, but many times throughout the season they have moments of pseudo redemption where they're kind of making their character a little bit likable. They're kind of overcoming some of these things, these obstacles in their personalities and stuff. And then as soon as you think they're finally about to turn that corner of like getting their life together, something spirals them like completely out of control again. And like it's two of the most unlikable characters that you could possibly imagine. But they do such a great job of like I just said, kind of like reeling you in and being like, okay, you know what? Danny's not that bad. He's just at a rough spot right now. Like, look, he's trying to turn it around, and then he does something the next episode. You're like, this guy's despicable. I can't stand it. The same thing about like Allie. But one thing I think you would like, Nick, for the episode title, the title cards, David Cho did the custom art for each episode, and just the way that it's presented, and it's just randomly it'll like loud music art pops up with the title and then it like goes away. I like it's kind of like Control, but with really cool David Cho art. Fascinating show. I would love it if any of our listeners have seen it, they would let us know what they thought of it, or Nick, if you end up getting around to watching, or even Chad, I don't know, maybe you'd like it.
Yeah, watch the first episode of the Fire Department.
Whoa.
Not my show, but maybe someday. Yeah.
Not my show.
Not my show, but it's right up in that wheelhouse of 30-minute episodes for you, Nick. So
Have I seen it in A24 anything?
I just realized that they've done, like they did Euphoria. They've done a couple of other shows.
I thought this was their first show.
No, they did Euphoria. Is Moonlight the FX show? There's some show I think Civ has seen. I don't know. I have to look again. But they've done like 3 or 4 shows. But that's kind of what drew me in. And then of course Steven Yeun is
Oh, they
awesome.
have lots
So
of movies.
I was like, got to check this out. So yeah, around the horn we go. What's up next for you, Nick? We still rattling through your movies now?
Yeah, we are. Or no. No, yeah, I have another movie to talk about. This one, I believe is it a Prime original? I think it is. So it's Air. Ben Affleck directed, and he also like kind of co-stars in it, but it also has Matt Damon as the main lead.
Jordan movie.
Yep. So it's
Yeah,
about
I wanna see that so
Nike's
bad.
historic deal with Jordan and
Yeah.
launching the Air Jordan line. So it definitely is it's a movie. It's like a good hour and 40 minutes of nothing, right? Nothing really happens. But it's Matt Damon like working at Nike. He's in charge of talent, right? And signing talent. And basically they have a $250,000 budget to sign 3 or 4 players. And he's just like, he has this revelation about Jordan, and he's like, we just needed to go all in on Jordan. So it's really him kind of convincing people that like this is the move, right? And he believes in it. And they're unraveling like the politics at the time, or at least the playing field. So like they tell you that Converse, that's like the main shoe worn by the NBA, then followed by Adidas, and then Nike has like either 17% of the shoe market or it's 17% of the basketball shoe market. I forget which one they were specifying when they showed that stat, but
I think it's the NBA.
NBA, because they talk about how they have like a monopoly on the running shoe market. But in terms of the NBA, they're pretty like low profile. So it's unraveling that, and Bateman he plays such a great character. Like he can just be himself, but somehow he like translates it and just to like a different character. I don't know, his acting, whatever he does when he acts, it just works. And it's basically like 80s Bateman, which is like this long flowy hair.
Yeah.
And he's like the marketing guy in there. So not a huge role, but he's there for a good amount of it. But it's a good movie. Ben Affleck plays like the CEO of Nike, and they're also kind of like the American like underdog company, like in Oregon is where they're based out of. So meanwhile, you got like Adidas in Germany, just powerhouse. You have Converse. So it's a nice little underdog story, and just how they kind of set the stage for like made the move, right? That made them the current brand they are today. So
Yeah, I really want to see this movie. I have a couple years ago switched over to exclusively wearing Jordan 1s, and this is about the design of the Jordan 1. So
yep.
Yeah, I'm really interested in it. I didn't know it was on Prime. I thought it was in theaters. I don't know if they put it on maybe after it left theaters. Maybe not.
Yeah,
I could just be misremembering that.
No, I think it was in theaters.
Yeah, so I have to check it out now that's on Prime. It's not like a movie I'd go to the theater to watch, but now that it's there, definitely want to watch
Chris Tucker's in this movie. He still acts.
Yep. Yeah, he plays, I think, like kind of the like more of the salesman role. Like he's just kind of like the enthusiastic like person that works there that just gets all the people in there and excited. He's kind of like the hype man for the department.
Nice.
But it's a good movie. It's a good movie, especially if you like that story and that context around it. It's funny how they do Jordan. You never see the actor's face, and he never speaks, but his parents do. So
Yeah, I like that. That's a cool way to do it, though.
yeah,
And it might be how the actual deal happened, right? So I don't know.
Yeah, to some degree, because basically they make it a point that like his mom's it was kind of in charge of like guiding that whole conversation. And they set it up too because basically Matt Damon's character, I think in 2014, maybe even more recent, he helped with a huge case that was fought in the courts in regards to like players' rights in terms of getting paid for their name and likeness being used to market products. And this kind of it was cool because I mean I don't know how much of it's just the writing, but like they did poise Nike as like pretty like they thought out of the box on this one. Obviously they're pulling like every punch they could to land Jordan. So like that was the first deal where the player got like a percentage of all the gross profits made off of the shoe with his name on it. Like there's a scene after they like close the deal where
he's doing the Scrooge McDuck into the vault.
No, not him. Basically Ben Affleck, the CEO of Nike, he was like laying on the couch and he was just like, did we mess up? Like this sets a really weird precedent because like for players to get paid on like our profits, and Matt Damon's like, it'll be fine. Don't worry about it.
But then that, like,
you know,
he was considering players getting paid off their profits that they're profiting off of the player.
Yeah, dude, this is
up.
This is
like,
so messed up.
Wait a second.
This is the same argument with like college players should be getting paid 100%. I'm so sick of the like boomer explanation, like, oh, they're getting their education. Like these guys are not here for education. These
colleges are getting like millions of dollars because of these players. So
millions off of these kids' backs. It's ridiculous. They absolutely should be paid 100%.
Yeah, Damon tries to explain it to because he has like a pretty good conversation with Jordan's mom on the phone, and and like they're talking about it. And he's like, she like kind of corners him about like, hey, we're all signing the deal, but we need this, and that's what it was. And he was giving off like the industry like speak in terms of like the company puts in the investment, so they get all the profit. And she's like, no, like that. Like she's like, if you believe what I believe about my son, like. That's not what you believe, dude. Like,
right?
He's the bee's knees.
I definitely need to watch it for sure.
It's good. It was good.
Yeah.
Especially if you've seen the Jordan, what was that Netflix documentary where it's actually
Last
Jordan?
Dance.
Yeah, The Last Dance.
So
like if you're
good.
into any of that crap, like this is a nice little like Affleck piece, I would call it, where because they kind of just take a concept and dial in on it. So it was good. Designing it was really cool. A lot of good fun details, and they're the fine. There's a fine for if you don't have enough white on the shoes in the NBA, and there's like the shoe needs more red, so we're just gonna pay the fine for every game for Jordan. Like that's in the deal.
Oh, it's so good.
Just so many cool things like that.
Yeah.
Good movie.
Yeah, it is wild. Like the NFL has ridiculous like cleat rules for the uniforms where like they can't wear custom cleats, and they make a point like maybe 2 weeks of the season the players get to like wear whatever cleats they want. So they like go all out and have like ridiculous art on their cleats, which actually is really cool. But I don't know, all that stuff's like super dumb to me.
Yeah. And I think the end, I forget what the time frame was. I almost want to say it was the following year, but Nike made $4 billion and Jordan was 10% of that. So like, 10% is still 400 million just on shoe sales. On top of the 250, well, the 400 million is laughable at the 250,000 a year that he signed to be on Nike.
Right.
So that's how much of a game changer that is.
Yeah.
10% of the shoe profits. But obviously Jordan's a little bit more of like lightning in the bottle. Like,
for sure.
That's a whole different like scale of shoe game.
Yeah. I mean, yeah.
At the time, for
Ponce
sure.
is here.
Yeah.
And now you got, like the bronze, and Steph Curry has his
But
shoe.
I don't even know if any of those guys sell as many shoes as Jordan does today. Like Jordans are still popular today, highly popular.
True.
Some of these shoes
Entrenched
that like
in
I
the-
want, if I don't get them at retail, they're like $300 the week after they come out. Like they're impossible to get. They're still very different. If you want a pair of Chicago Jordans, which are the original red color that's probably in the movie, the red and white with the black swoosh, dude, you have no chance of getting that shoe. No chance whatsoever. And it's going to be $1,000 2 weeks after it comes out. Like they're still, I can't imagine that LeBron is selling shoes like that and Steph is selling shoes like that. Maybe they are, but
wasn't he the first one where it was more so like his name, his likeness, and everything about him was the shoe? Like, yeah, all the other players, all the big name players then were wearing Converse shoes, but what were they doing? They were wearing a Converse shoe. They weren't wearing their name Jordan.
Yeah.
They weren't wearing the Patrick Ewings.
Yeah,
right.
Exactly. So like that kind of started that whole trend, which just entered an entire insanity sphere of like pop culture.
I think I think Chuck Taylor started wearing the Converse, the Chuck Taylors that you think of when you think of it, but I don't think they were I don't think they were called Chuck Taylors back then. I don't even know if they're called Chuck Taylors now, to be honest with you. I think they're just
I think they are.
Maybe they are, but I don't think back
Old
then
Chucks.
they were, you know.
Reddy, he says just travel to the future and buy them. I mean, that's a pretty foolproof plan there.
Yeah, right.
Nice. Civ, if you're listening, you should watch Air, because I know he was like, I need at least 3 people to say that it was good before I'll watch it. So, all right.
I want to see the spreadsheet he uses to manage that.
Yeah, exactly.
Check. Check.
All right, Chad, what's up next for you?
So, next for me, and this has been kind of Brady and I doing this in the shadows, because we are doing a companion series on this specific series. But we were waiting till the English dub comes out for it, which started Sunday. So the companion series is incoming. But we have been in the shadows watching season 3 in Japanese of Demon Slayer. And I'm glad that we waited for the dub, dude, because there's so much going on that like I need English voices talking back at me to kind of narrow it back in for me. And I think it will do us good to watch both episodes twice. But yeah, I have been watching Demon Slayer with Brady. It's been funny because like we've watched, like I go to my parents every Sunday at dinner, and like last Sunday we were like, dude, let's watch the new episode because it came out. We're like sitting at the dinner table watching a Japanese audio anime on his iPad. We're just playing.
Headphones.
My parents are like super. No. It was like after dinner. After dinner, we're sitting at the table. But my parents are still sitting there, and they're like, you know, my dad's Boomer City, right? So he like has no idea what's going on at his table. Like there's just Japanese voices yelling.
Did he have anything to say?
No, he's just like I think he did say. I think he did say like, you can't get that in English. I'm like, nope, not yet.
This is America.
That just brings me back to when I would watch Dragon Ball Z after school on Toonami, right? And Dragon Ball Z, the issue that we had, my father and I, is Dragon Ball Z overlapped with, I think, the before the nightly news segment. So maybe the local news or something, but there was occasionally a battle in terms of like, are we watching the news or are we watching Dragon Ball Z? And it was like almost like right around dinner time too. So like we're all like in the same zone, and I'm in the living room. And I got Dragon Ball Z on, and they're doing their thing on that show, which is, 20 years ago, even more foreign, right?
Yeah.
Many more people than just like people our age, like not barely, not a lot of people, not everyone watched anime like they do now. But my dad always equated the power up moments as like, he's like, are they just like taking a shit? Like, are they just like really trying to take a really massive dump? And like, that's how he would just like troll it. Because Vegeta's just standing there going, ah.
Yeah, it's definitely funny because like I have a guy that I work with, and I was reading a manga at work the other day, and he's like pacing back and forth behind, like it sends him walking behind me and looking at me. And he's like, finally, he's like, are you reading that book backwards? I was like, yes, I'm reading backwards. So I explained, and it's funny because he like, He's a very, very, very smart guy. He travels all over the place, but he's never come close to Japan. So that's like one of the locations he's never been to. So it's totally foreign to him. This is the kind of guy that can sit down and watch like Jeopardy and get every question that they ask, like 100% of the time.
He's got
so
one
I'm like
more question right now because when they ask the question, which way do you read manga?
Read books in Japan, yeah. So I
funny.
explained it to him, like showed it to him. We had like a discussion about it. But it's always funny to watch people that's just like so foreign to him. They just don't understand what's going on.
He was pacing behind you, waiting for the.
I knew it was coming.
Was he trying to figure it out?
I think he was trying to figure it out. Well, it was two things. He was trying to figure out if I was reading a coloring book because it's not colored, right? It's just like it's called Vagabond, and it's just black lines. And then the other part was, why was I reading it the opposite direction of the books?
He's like, what kind of drugs are you on, Chad? You stand there reading a blank coloring book.
I love fucking with the firefighters with this kind of stuff, dude, because they're all like super, jacked alpha male dudes that just don't do any of this shit. Like this stuff's so foreign to them. So I love pulling this shit out.
Are you reading a coloring book?
So he's asking if I'm reading a coloring book. Yeah.
Oh, that's classic. That's gold. Holy crap.
In his defense, like I said, it's just outline drawings, right? It's not a colored manga. So it really does look like a coloring book.
Yeah.
So
I get it. That's so funny.
But it's like much smaller. Like
it's much smaller, and
like a
nobody
coloring book.
for being such a smart dude. Who the hell reads coloring books, right? Like, why was that the first thing that popped in this dude's head? Is this guy sitting here reading a coloring book?
It was just that foreign to him. He had no idea what you were on, dude. Foreign. He was like,
really broke his brain for a second.
Yeah.
Wow, that's great. So how is it though?
It's great, man. I can't wait to talk about it. Yeah, it's really good. It's really, really good. I can't wait. And Brady, it's funny because he's like he's read a lot of the manga. So he's like trying not to spoil stuff for me. But like stuff's happening in the show and we're watching and he's like, oh my God. I'm like, dude, just shut up. I don't want to hear it unless they're going to talk about it. I don't want to hear anything. And then he'll be after the show, like that one thing, dude. I can't wait till we get to it. But you're going to be so excited. Like, okay. He's
how old is he?
9.
Okay, that 9-year-old angst of excitement, like you can't sit still, you're about to like
it's so
launch.
Funny. Yeah, it's so funny. That's exactly how he is, and he's been like that watching like every episode. It's adorable. But we went and watched the Demon Slayer movie that came out, and I do want to talk about this Demon Slayer movie. I can't remember if I talked on it here. I feel a little catfished with this movie, but it's rated R, right? So I'm like, dude, I don't know if I can take my 9-year-old to rated, like how many people are going to look at me weird if I'm taking a 9-year-old into a rated R movie, right?
Yeah,
dude, it was full of kids. Like the entire theater was full of kids. So I was like, okay, so I feel fine.
That was a 90s problem. That's done. Like people let their kids watch whatever.
Right. But the movie, in quotes, I'll put it, was called the Swordsmith Village arc, which is what the season is about, the manga arc. And it's literally the last 2 episodes of season 2 in the first episode of season 3 put together, and they called it a movie. I'm like, what?
Oh, no.
I'm like, what is this? We're like sitting there watching. I'm like, we've seen all this crap. Now, granted, the last 2 episodes of season 2 are bangers and was awesome to watch on the big screen because we've never seen it on the big screen. But still, I would have liked to, you could have said like, in fine print, like it's just episodes 10 and 11 of season 2 and the first episode of season 3. Don't get too excited.
Oh geez, yeah,
it sucks.
That'd be a little disappointing.
Yeah, and it sucks because the movie that came out in between season 1 and season 2 is like widely regarded as one of the best anime movies ever made. So that's like what I was going into thinking this was going to be, and it's not. It's just totally catfished me,
Man,
total money grab.
I think it's so cool that you and your sons like do all this stuff together. Yeah, it's got to be super rad. Like,
dude, it's definitely cool. And I'll tell you, all 3 of us playing Tears of the Kingdom at the same time has been so cool, dude. It's been so cool because like Roman is like super into it, so he's like teaching me stuff. Brady's figuring stuff out. I'm figuring stuff out. We're all talking. We're all laying in bed playing at the same time. It's been really, really cool. Yeah,
that's awesome. So the last thing I've been watching, I just started. Maybe it was yesterday. If not yesterday, this week. Started watching a new show on Apple TV called Silo. Had that interesting sci-fi-ish dystopian vibe going for it, so I thought I'd check it out. The premise: this society now lives in this massive silo. Apparently, they can't go outside because the environment is poisonous and basically kills anyone who steps outside the silo within. Sorry, I have the hiccups. Within like a handful of minutes or whatever. So that's kind of where you start out in episode 1. I don't want to spoil anything because it's relatively new. I think the finale of the season comes out at the end of the month or something. So it's not even
June
over
9th.
yet.
Yeah. It's got our boy Jorah in it, huh?
Yes.
Nice.
Dude,
That's why you asked the other day.
When he came on screen, I was like, yes, I couldn't remember who he was in Game of Thrones because, there's like 1,000 named characters. So
right.
I couldn't recall his name, but I was like, my dude, yes, he's here. Doesn't have grayscale anymore. Yeah, so the premise is interesting. You're like, why the heck's everyone stuck in the silo? And then the first episode has a cool little twist where, maybe the founders, they call them, of the silo, maybe there's something nefarious going on, and maybe people don't have to be inside this silo. So a series of events happens that has the main characters kind of questioning the motives of the people in charge. It's interesting. I think I'm about to start episode 5, and I don't know how many are out, so I might be very close to being caught up. I've liked it so far, but this kind of struggles with similar things that I kind of didn't like about The Peripheral, but not the exact same things. Like the story's good, the acting is good, but it's still just. Have you guys ever watched a show on a streaming service and you're like, it has that like lingering bad taste of like, this could be on like a basic cable channel?
Yeah.
Like
I hate
Silo, it's just like the most minor feeling of that. Like it's almost doesn't have that feeling, but there's just enough where I'm like, man,
Even the name of it, like it just sounds like it would be on regular
honestly
TV.
I think now, thinking of right now, I really think it just comes down to the score of it. Sounds like I'm watching a USA show, which that's a bad example because Mr. Robot was a USA
soundtrack.
show. But yeah, it's just like, maybe if the score was done better, I wouldn't have that feeling at all. But there's just something lingering just below the surface where I'm like, this just is barely missing like the streaming service quality show.
Yeah, it's got some big name actors in it. The girl from Alien Covenant, I don't know what her name is. Let me look. Rebecca Ferguson. I liked her a lot. She's not in Alien Covenant really that long, but she's great in it. She looks like maybe the main character. And then I always forget this dude. He was in John Wick. I don't know if he's a rapper. He's got like a weird name.
Oh,
like
Common?
Common, yes.
Ordinary.
I knew it was something freaking weird. Yeah. I love him and everything. Awesome. He's great in John Wick. He's really good in
Nick's like trying not to fall out of his chair right now, I think.
That was close.
Nick's feeling like close. You felt about the coloring book like comment.
Yeah. He's really good. Let me think of the movie that he's in with Keanu Reeves. It's like a cop movie. Yeah. I haven't. Let me look. Street Kings. He's really good in Street Kings too. I like Common a lot.
Nice.
I didn't remember his name. I was close. Give me a break here, would you?
Will Patton is in this show, and he's pretty good. He pops up in a lot of things. He's one of those guys. If you saw him, you'd know who I'm talking about. Oh shoot! I accidentally clicked on his picture, but I meant to click the arrow. The Sheriff Holston's actor, David Oyelowo. I probably totally butchered that. He is really good and has one of those faces where I'm like, I feel like I've seen you in a lot of things, but I don't actually know anything that you've been in after looking at his page. Like I've never watched any of the things he's been in, but he's really good. And then we also have who is not for some reason in like the top cast section of IMDb. Is it? Oh shoot! I'm gonna butcher her name, and then everyone's gonna make fun of me. Rashida something or other. She's Ann Perkins in Parks and Rec.
I think IMDb orders it by like how much they are paid.
Could be.
So if they're a woman, they're probably not shown on the first page.
Oh, damn.
That's the way the world works these days.
Ruthless. Ruthless.
Oh my!
You're a big fan
Rashida
of these.
Rashida Jones.
Rashida Jones.
Oh,
You're
yeah.
a big fan of these Apple TV shows, huh?
Have
you
He
seen?
pays for it, so he feels obligated to like them. He's kind of
it's
like
only
a
$6 or $7.
Have you seen C?
Have I
really wanna
seen?
see
No,
it.
I haven't. But that was like the OG Apple
The
show.
CB?
Yeah.
Jason Momoa.
Yeah.
I've heard it's decent. I haven't watched that so far. Oh, sorry. Severance, Foundation, Invasion, Ted Lasso, and now Silo are the Apple series that I've watched. But there's a handful of shows that I really want to check out. They've added a lot, and they've all been pretty good.
Sweet.
Yeah. So Nick, you got anything watching or playing left?
I have another what's watching. It's not a movie.
Whoa.
And I've only seen the first episode. But good old Tim B, top tier patron. It's a recommendation from him. He said we have to watch this. It is the best show on television right now. And I've heard talks of it out there. People are watching this, and it's quite intriguing. So think Planet Earth.
Okay.
But it's called Chimp Empire. And it is about the largest known chimpanzee clan, tribe. So there's like over 100 of these chimpanzees living together as this group somewhere in the world. And they give them names. They zoom in all the way on their faces, and they like narrate.
Oh, I need this in my life,
drama.
dude. Yeah. What's this called?
Like Chimp Empire. And they're basically explaining like the social structures, how they like, how eerily like human they are.
Very,
very.
Yeah.
I think like we have a 98% DNA match, but like the baby chimps, like they basically have like baby faces. It's weird that they just kind of look like people. It's bizarre. But the first episode, like they're outlining like, here's the alpha, right? He's number 1. But they have like 1 through like 7 of like the stack rank in terms of like who's in charge. And like number 3 is like trying to make a push to be number 1. And they basically like they dramatize it, and they narrate the drama within this clan of 120 chimpanzees.
Wow.
So I think it's gonna be interesting.
I'm like
Joe Rogan is going to have to talk about this because he has to have already seen it.
Big chimp guy.
Dude, he freaks out over
Does he?
And chimps, dude.
Yeah, that's funny. So I watched a documentary. I'm super interested in. I was super interested in like monkeys and chimps and stuff like a couple weeks ago, and I watched one on
Your
I can't remember the
past
name of
interest.
them, but they're bonobos or something like that, where they're just like. This is going to get a little adult here for a second, but they literally like all they do is have sex. Like everything is resolved through sex, and it's like they're non-violent. They just have sex, and they don't care.
hippies
Like
of the monkey world.
yeah, dude, it's hilarious. And yeah, they like it doesn't even like gay, straight, doesn't matter. They're just having sex, you know. It's
They're
like
out there
let's do
fixing
it.
the world's
They're so
problems.
interesting. They're so interesting, bro, because they resolve everything with it. Everything with it. You should look it up. I'll try to find the documentary I watched. It's like so interesting, dude. That's all they do. They don't fight. They're just nonstop.
Yeah, they covered a bit here where like they're saying when chimps groom each other, that's like their form of how we converse and like talk and have conversations and build relationships. So they went through this chain of where like 1 and 2 groom each other, but 2 and 3 groom each other. And then like they're all pairing them up, and it's this complex like web of like who grooms who, and like
Yeah.
there's beef. Like, but
Yeah,
like that's
so
how
good. I have to
shit
watch this,
happens.
dude. Yeah. Because I mean, they're violent chimpanzees, right? Is there a
Yeah.
lot? Yeah, they're very, very violent. That's what I'm saying. Like we are so close to chimps. We're just like talking monkeys, and I'm so sick of people acting like we're not just talking monkeys. Like to relax, okay? Like we're not that far from these. These people are having disputes over territories. We do the same freaking thing. We just have weapons to go along with it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I'm super interested in this stuff.
That's what I mean, like especially the babies, because like you put enough hair like all around like our primary features, like yeah, we start to look a lot like chimps if you just add enough hair to the situation.
Exactly. Yeah.
It's interesting. So I'm interested to keep watching it and see
What's
like
it on?
how it is. Netflix.
Okay.
Right? Netflix? Chimp Empire? Netflix?
I mean, sure. Look it up.
Empire.
So it's like
Netflix.
It's a documentary though, but they're like building out a story or what?
Yeah, correct. It's
so
like
cool.
Planet Earth and how they narrate it, but it's like a continued narration of the same characters.
Oh, it's so good, dude.
And I need like a half-hour episode on like the making of, because I want to see like are there people like in the jungle like getting these insanely like they zoom in on their eyes like a close-up.
Yeah.
Like I would have to get like inches from my camera for you to see my eyes this well as they do in this show. And I'm like, do they use drones sometimes? And somewhere I read, or they say at the beginning, like chimps are loud, like they're not hard to track through the jungle, like they're loud.
Yeah.
So I don't know if like they're loud and just like comfortable enough with their clan of like 100 chimps that they just don't care that there are some humans like filming them. I don't know.
Yeah.
I want to kind of see how they did this. Because they did that for Planet Earth. They show like the film crews and stuff, because it is always interesting how they get the shots they've been able to get. So
exactly, yeah. There were a couple Disney movies that I loved. African Cats I really liked. I think there is a chimpanzee one. They had like all those nature movies a while back, but African Cats, I think I went to see African Cats in the theater because I'm like infinitely in love with African Cats. So I was like, yeah, no brainer, dude. I'm going to see this crap. But yeah, this sounds really cool, dude. I'm gonna have to check it out. Best show on television? Yeah, maybe.
That's
might be a stretch, but we'll see.
That's what Tim B said. but he's a little bit of an ape himself, so
he
I can
really
see him
is.
feeling. He's like my people.
Yeah, exactly. Like I felt oddly at home.
Yeah, that's why it was so funny. He messaged me. I was like, dude, you would be the one that tipped me off on this show.
Oh gosh, nice. You got anything left, Chad?
Yeah, I mean, just Tears of the Kingdom, my what's playing side. We did a full Patreon episode, both boys. Roman did awesome. I'm so proud of him. First episode of Showboy. And yeah, he did great. I think he talked probably the most out of.
Is he coming for Brady? Is he about to knock Brady?
He might. Like, if it's Zelda, Mega Man, and some of the other little games that he plays, he'll talk to your ear off about it. Dang. But yeah, he did great, and it's so cool because he is like really into this game. Like he's finding stuff I would have never found. No chance. I could play this game for a year. I would have never found some of the stuff that he's finding. So it was super exciting to sit down and talk to him. He's always my buddy. He always wants to go upstairs and lay in bed and play. And I'm like, yeah, dude, absolutely. Like this is like I'm embracing this moment right now because it doesn't come often that we're all playing the same game, right?
Yeah.
I mean, I'm convincing myself that like I think like each generation of children are like significantly more intelligent than like the prior generation when they were children. Because if you think about the games that we were impressed by and like the things that we learned about like our PlayStation 1 games that we thought were so
Right.
cool, like these kids are like miles
Oh,
ahead of
miles,
like
dude.
the crap that like they figure out, and they can watch YouTube videos all day about it. They still have to go and do it. They go and do it and they become like little data banks of all this information.
Yeah,
And
dude. He was like I don't know. Both of my boys are very intelligent, but they just absorb stuff so much. Like Roman will talk about stuff that we talked about like years ago. I'm like, dude, how do you even freaking remember that I don't even remember what you're talking about. I like vaguely remember, but he like remembers the details. So when it comes to this game, a game that's Tears of the Kingdom is massive, maybe one of the most massive games I've ever played in my life. I'm like, I don't know how many hours in. It's really bothering me that I don't know how many hours in because it's counting all of us. But I feel like I'm like 40, 50 hours
just
in. I
divide
haven't
by
even
3.
scratched it. I haven't even scratched the surface of it. Right. I guess I could do that. Yeah, I could do that theoretically to get a
Unless you know one of you is
approximation.
like pulling way more weight than the other two.
Yeah, I mean, Roman and I are probably pulling the most weight. Brady was playing Fortnite for a little bit there, but then he got into it. So he's like pulling a lot of weight now. So it's like, yeah, I guess I could get an approximation.
Yeah, you still divide by 3.
But I tell you, dude, Spider-Man 2 is going to have to really bring it to knock this out of Game of the Year. This is Game of the Year without question. This might break my top 5 games of all time easily.
Oh, wow.
I mean, we might be talking number
We're
2,
going to
number 3.
reassess that at the end of the
we're
year.
definitely
Your top 5 games.
We're definitely going to have to reassess it because this game is just
Do we
it's
know your
amazing,
top 5
dude.
games?
Yeah, we talked top 5 games on here, I think, before.
Okay.
Early,
Yeah, but isn't
very
that like
like
2 years
first
old?
episode.
Yeah, that's old. That's old news.
But honestly, I don't think much has changed on it.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't think much has
What's
changed
number
on
1?
it. Metal Gear Solid.
Is that the one they're remaking?
That is not the one they're remaking. No, unfortunately, they're making
what, last one, the third
they're making
one
the third one, which
is
is
first in the
technically
time.
the first in the time. Yeah, I don't know if that's the plan. Seems weird to me either way. You know. But yeah, if you're like even on the fence about getting Tears of the Kingdom, go buy it immediately because this game is phenomenal. It's phenomenal.
Can I play on the Steam Deck?
I believe you can. Yeah, not legally, but yes. It wasn't running. I've been checking it. It wasn't running very good on Dolphin, but I think that Dolphin just got a cease and desist from Nintendo. So, I don't know how all that stuff works. That seems problematic.
Yeah.
And it also seems like Nintendo that they want to take down their freaking 20-year-old games so nobody can play them. Makes no sense, but
yeah, they're idiots.
Yeah. Yeah, I just saw that like last week. So I don't know if it was running on Dolphin, but it looked like it was running good on Steam Deck as of like a week ago. But
about a week ago.
Yep.
We got
Update.
Michael.
I am going to be purchasing a Steam Deck by the end of the month.
Oh,
really?
I'm just holding out.
Are you?
I know it's not likely, but I'm holding out just in case there's like a small 10% sale during the summer sale.
Yeah.
You never know. I've seen it I've seen the 10% discount. I forget when, but it did happen.
$40.
Hey, any bucks is a buck saved.
Is the base model 400? Is that how that rocks?
$399. Yeah. And for Mike, it's like a freaking no-brainer because he can play all his Pokemon games on it.
Yay!
All his Steam games.
So
yeah,
and all my non like AAA Steam games. It's gonna be amazing.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's definitely gonna be happening. I'm out of stuff I've watched. Do you have much stuff, Nick? Because I'll just rattle off what's left because it doesn't sound like Chad has much of anything.
I've been because they announced Total War Pharaoh. The upset people have like quieted down.
Yeah.
And there's like more rational people now. The people who are like, okay, everyone that doesn't play. Basically, everyone that doesn't like the fantasy, like Warhammer, Total Wars, and all that stuff, they just suck at the game. That's the counter.
That's the
crowd that's coming out now because it's like you guys are just a bunch of idiots that don't know how to play like the better games because they have more layers to them. So it's funny.
Nice.
But I've been kind of fired up like Medieval 2 because I was trying to remember like why do they want like a Medieval 3 like that bad? Like I go back to Medieval 2, like one, it's just a little dated for me, and I mean it's good, but like calm down. Like
Right.
we'll get it someday. And then I opened up Rome 2 and I was like, no, I need to play more Three Kingdoms. And then I was happy I did play a little bit of Three Kingdoms because that game is just fun.
Dude, I need
but
like a Game of Thrones 4X game like that.
oh my
So
god,
I'd be all
I
over
really
it.
wish. And
I would be all over it.
I've messed with like Civilization mods for that, and it's just hard. Like none of them are good. Like you need
Right.
like the legit game, and that's the
Yeah.
sad part about it. But I was looking at the settings and I was starting a new Three Kingdoms game. There's a setting that turns off the hero, like where your generals are independent heroes that just like wipe the floor. You can put them and make them normal units. Like you can turn that off. So I'm like, why are we complaining about this? You can just turn
Right.
it off if you don't
Yeah.
like it. It's like stop.
Because Nick, it's something that can be complained about.
Yep,
Yes,
exactly.
I'm like, I was like, oh yeah, that's right. You could turn it off. What's the problem here? Whatever.
Right.
So yeah, back to Game of Thrones. They need that really bad.
Yeah, that would be so
Why
cool,
we don't
dude.
have that, I have no idea.
I don't know why. Yeah, I don't know why we don't have that. I don't know why we don't have like an open world Game of Thrones game in development somewhere. Maybe we do. We just don't know. But like a Witcher 3 style in the world of Westeros, dude, it would sell like hotcakes. And it's not going to be I mean, I guess theoretically it could be like a crappy, licensed game from the 90s that they used to do for like Spider-Man and Lord of the Rings and all those crappy games. But it could be something
you
cool,
could do
dude.
it where there's like the Mass Effect like Paragon system.
Oh, dude, yeah.
And you could pick which
But
family you want to kind of align yourself with.
Yeah. Dude, it'd be so cool.
Yeah. So sorry, go ahead.
I was gonna say Rome 2 came out in like 2014 or so, maybe 2011 even, somewhere in that time frame. And that's my favorite, like most well-rounded, most played Total War game. It's got its problems. It's like definitely middle of the road, like maybe mid-high, middle of the road. It's not perfect, but like I just need a reskin of that, just rebuilt around like the Game of Thrones world, and I'd be happy. You don't need to make me like the best game ever. I'll put 500 hours into it just because it's Game of Thrones and it's done like B+ quality. Like that's all
exactly.
you need.
Yeah, exactly.
Just
but it's hard.
ESO on Elder Scrolls Online to be, it doesn't need to be
like I picture
Elden
like
Ring.
I picture like
Cool
Bethesda. It would be really cool. And dude, I was so salty because when they announced, there was like rumors that prior to Elden Ring, which ended up being true, that George R.R. Martin was writing for that game, but there were like rumors that From Software and George R. I was like, dude, it's gonna be a freaking Dark Souls Game of Thrones game. Like, holy crap!
Any weapon combo you want.
Yeah, didn't end up panning out. But yeah, it's hard because you don't like CD Projekt Red probably doesn't want to make it because they're making Witcher games. They don't need to make Game of Thrones games. They're close enough. Bethesda's making Elder Scrolls, so you'd have to find a studio that's good enough and willing to do it. But
who here is willing to take on the mantle?
Yeah.
Is there no one good enough? EA's like, everyone just says, "Shut up, sit down."
Yeah.
They take him out and or EA out and give him the Jon Snow treatment.
Xbox is like, everyone's like, nope.
Yeah.
Sony's like, they're just in the back, like, don't pick me.
Yeah.
Oh boy. So I've been working through some games. Of course, I'm about to wrap up my Pokemon Black playthrough, which has been really, really fun. Stay tuned because more will come about that. Also got asked to join our friends over at Play Along Podcast, I think sometime at the end of the month, to talk about Pokemon Mystery Dungeon Explorers of Sky, which is another spin-off different style of Pokemon game in the franchise. Just like a dungeon crawler type thing. It's interesting. I've always wanted to play one, never have, so I got asked to do this. So I was like, okay, well, I guess I'm gonna finally play one.
Okay.
I'm like 25% through. It's been pretty cool.
Yeah, I
Those
wanted to
games
try.
are
Yeah, there's a Persona game that's a dungeon crawler, Persona Q. It was on the 3DS, and I think they made a Q2. I've always wanted to try it. I don't know. The first person like dungeon crawling in those games, at least. I don't know if it's first person in this that you're
not
talking about.
really. It's
Yeah,
pretty like rudimentary.
yeah.
But these mystery dungeon games are kind of more narrative focused than like actual Pokemon gameplay focused. So it's been interesting. I'm enjoying it. Of course, still slamming through War Tales. I don't know how much you've played recently, Nick, but I've discovered I've of course been through Tiltron
Mhm.
and have dabbled in two of the other zones.
Yeet.
How did we say the one?
Cordova,
Corsia?
Corsia,
Cordia, whatever.
Cordia.
Dabbled in there. In the town, there's like a newer mechanic that I don't know if you've dabbled with, but I started to. But there's like a lot to investigate that I haven't really fully unearthed everything that happens using this mechanic. And then I ventured up north of Tiltron, which I can't remember what that zone's called, and I've barely done anything in it. But after unlocking this new mechanic in Corsia, that mechanic is then available in all the other towns. So I went back to Tiltron, unlocked it there, and then went up north because I had some random bounty to go up there before I went to Corsia. So I unlocked the mechanic there, and now I have all these things in the town, and I'm like, I guess at some point I should really dig into all of the different things I can do with this now that I have it unlocked in 3 different zones. Still having a lot of fun with that game. I'm on quite a roll in my solo play. After the last batch of deaths that happened like 2 or 3 weeks ago, nobody's died recently. And I've got 3 fat boars in the squad. I'm just force feeding food so I can eventually reap the benefits of having
I
livestock.
wish you could make it so they don't go into battle.
I know. Because it's so tense. Because I don't know how many rests I've been through with these boars now, but each rest they get fatter, and then eventually they'll earn a trait called fat or something. I don't know if it's exactly that, but there's a trait along the lines of them being fat, and you can butcher them, and then it gives you a ton of food that you
More
can
meat,
cook.
yeah.
Yeah.
That's
So
cool.
I've got like a little boar livestock farm in the troop right now, but like Nick said, every time we get into a battle, they're on the battlefield. So I'm like, trying to
protect the boss.
They can attack, which is cool.
Dude, those things are mean, I think. Yeah. So
I know. But I don't want to risk any of them dying, so I just like throw them in in the back and then like
hope
skip
they don't
their
come up
turns
front.
when they
Yeah.
come around.
If they die in battle, you should just get like you should get maybe like a portion of the meat they would have yielded if they were butchered. Because like I get like it's not a perfect like butchering.
Yeah.
Right.
Maybe they got like skewered through like a
That
good
happens.
chunk of meat.
Because that
But
happened once
salvageable.
before.
Yeah.
One of mine died in battle, and it did give me some.
Yeah. Okay.
But I've got 4 ponies now, so my carry capacity is like upper 600s. I'm just essentially just a loot machine now.
I was just
It's
last
fun.
thing I was doing is I was trying to figure out how to be like a master trader between towns and make big
yes.
money.
That's
I
one
was
thing I
starting to
haven't
figure it
done yet.
out. There's certain goods you have to figure out like what goods to buy in which town to sell to the next like nearest town.
Oh.
Because certain goods sell better in different towns. So it's about figuring out the goods that sell in like I think like Corsia and Tiltron are like the 2 closest just because of the 2 like beginner zones. And you have to like figure out the days travel, right? Because you don't want to have a bad trade where you have to travel like a bunch of days because that costs money to travel. So it's all about finding the right balance
cool.
there. So like short trips, with the right goods will actually yield you a profit.
Huh.
I haven't dabbled in that yet, but I like the options that you have in War Tales,
To make
because
money.
essentially you're just a troop of mercenaries looking to get the bag, and however you want to secure the bag, you can do. It's fun. The
Secure
combat's
bag.
super cool. I've really enjoyed it, and I unlocked the perk now that lets you run 20% faster on roads. So I'm just like Usain Bolt when I'm on the path now, which
Love
makes
it.
it nice.
Yeah.
So I wasn't on the episode last week because we went to Florida for a long weekend, which was pretty nice. While I was there in my downtime and on the plane, I finally beat Cat Quest 1 on the Switch, which
Cat Quest.
it's like it's a pretty, the first game is pretty basic, but it's essentially a pun filled cat version of like Skyrim, but all over the top. Like the map is kind of small and you're kind of a bigger cat, so it's not like first person or like a huge world or anything.
Yeah.
But visually it looks really cool. It's kind of funny when it's not like too on the nose with the cheesy puns, but I also think that's the point.
Right.
And the combat, while simple, is very fun and addicting and kind of quick. So I loved it. I thought it was funny. Got a good chuckle out of it. I'm excited to do Cat Quest 2. And then I think during the showcase they announced something Cat Quest, whether it's 3 or DLC for 2. So that's nice. Now I got
During the PlayStation showcase. Oh yeah, they did. I can't remember. I think it was DLC for 2.
Yeah. So now I need to either get back to Iron Tales or start Cat Quest 2. I'm not sure what I'll do
When
yet.
are you gonna get the Darkest Dungeon 2?
I really want to.
It's in that expensive range of games.
It is. It's not the current Darkest Dungeon $3 cheap yet.
Yeah.
But Darkest Dungeon did just come up in conversation in a Discord server I'm in. And it's been great, and it's making me really want to go back and play 1 again. But what I've seen of 2 looks amazing. Like Civ was talking about it last week or the week before, and I found someone streaming it on Twitch, and just the character animations in 2 are so great, and the new battle animations are so nice looking.
Yeah.
I mean, 1 was very simple, and the art style is kind of like ageless. So 1 looks really good, but they really improved it for 2. So yeah, I am very excited to try out 2 sometime, and I want to just go back and play 1 again because it's been so long. And then I saw another thing about Space Marine 2, Warhammer 40K Space Marine 2, and it's looking so sick. And I really want to play it when it comes out. And Space Marine 1 was on sale on Steam for like $15, so I snagged that. I'll play it someday. Maybe, hopefully. For being realistic, probably not. But
Probably not, yeah.
with the purest intentions to play Space Marine 1, we'll see if it ever happens. But it just, I mean, third-person shooter in the Warhammer 40K as a giant Space Marine, it looks so cool.
Yeah.
Have you played any of the Space Marine games, Nick?
Mm-mm.
Or have either of you played any Warhammer games? I have not.
No, I saw Space Marine. I thought it looked pretty cool, but no, yeah, not really my kind of game.
Yeah, I don't think it's mine either. It's like, I was talking about this the other day. There's certain types of games, and I'll even extend this to like IPs or franchises that I would love to love, but like for whatever reason they just don't click with me. And I feel like Warhammer is one of those things where theoretically I should love it.
You should love it, yeah.
But for some reason, like nothing has clicked and grabbed hold yet. 4X games, I would love to love. I just can't do it. I don't know why. Like, do you guys have any examples off the top of your head of like something you're like, I really should enjoy this, but I just can't?
Yeah, I don't know. I'd have to think about that one.
I should probably enjoy like first person shooters more than I do, but I guess can't. Or multiplayer games in general. Like I probably should. I just don't. Not specific like I feel like I'm fairly varied outside of the multiplayer blocker, right?
Yeah, you are. Yeah.
I'm trying to think.
So I think for me,
I guess MOBAs would be something like I probably would be like I should be like neck deep in, but I just have never gotten. And like the only thing I could really commit to is like Heroes of the Storm, and that's like the whole like waist ankle deep version of a MOBA.
Yeah.
And
that does seem like it'd be up your alley, yeah, for sure.
Yeah, exactly. And like I've heard, I like the way Mike talks about League. Like those are pretty deep and technical games, and they're competitive. And I like that. And I liked what I liked. I liked Heroes of the Storm for all the MOBA things it had. But it's like I just cannot commit myself to the idea of like seriously getting into something like League or any even the more like hybrid ones that maybe like Overwatch or the arena shooters, like things like that.
Yeah.
Those are ones I just can't touch for whatever imaginable reason.
Yeah, those are games that I like. Just I know that I wouldn't like, and I know that you know what I mean. Like it's just not my cup of tea. But for me, a specific game would be the reboot of God of War. I don't know. I should love that game. Like it's got everything that I love in games. It's a story-driven, PlayStation exclusive, narrative-driven game. I just couldn't finish it. I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah.
I've never revisited it to see if that has changed. I played it at release. I got it for free, and I still was like, meh, you know, not for me.
Yeah, it's interesting because I find myself thinking that a lot. Like I should really like this, but
yeah,
I don't.
yeah.
Shout out to our Heroes of the Storm days, Nick. Those are some fun nights.
That's what I mean. Like it's a fun time, and it'd be fun to have that fun. But I don't know. I just don't think it's like you always compare it to. It's like a drug. Like it's better to just not. Like it would be a real fun time, but not really.
No, and if you're talking about fun times in MOBAs, like it's just not possible.
Few and far between.
League of Legends and Dota are just they've just been out for so long, and if you haven't, like, if you're trying to get into it now, like
what's the Warhammer?
It's just such an uphill climb just to learn the characters alone, because they're like, at least in League of Legends, there's like 130, maybe 140 playable characters, and they all have 4 unique moves, and then you add on top of that item builds, and it's just like, I don't know what any of these things do. How do I even play against this?
I felt a little bit of that when I started World of Warcraft, because I got into it like right around Cataclysm or after Cataclysm. So it was just like there's like 4 expansions prior to this. I missed all that stuff. I don't think I ever ran through any of the ice, whatever, the Lich King or whatever. I wanted to do that stuff so badly. But yeah, it's just like there's so much leading up to it, and they just give you that like character boost where they just boost you. It's just so easy to take, so you can start playing the new crap, you know?
And like I don't know much about Dota's community, but League's community is like the most toxic people in the existence of
shocker.
The human race.
So
when you're new and you're like, I'm trying to learn what this character does, if you die one time, they're like, kill yourself, you stupid idiot. It's like, holy crap, bro. Like, jeez. So Heroes of the Storm, if you want to have fun with a MOBA, play that game, because it's like exactly like it's the kiddie pool version of
baby's
MOBAs.
first MOBA.
But even that game, like the highs are high, but the lows are still low because there's plenty of times where there's nights where like people just get beat down by like how shitty like it can be.
Yeah. But
Because it's
here,
competitive and you want
Yeah.
to win, and you
Yep.
and you all. It also, the thing with MOBAs is like 5v5, or sometimes they vary, but like it's just the right size where it's like I can do this on my own, but one person can also completely screw it all on their own.
Right,
And
yeah.
that's where the frustration comes, because you're like,
Yeah.
yeah, I can carry the whole team, but also one person can tank the whole team, so that's all it
Yeah.
takes. And the other 3 people are just like absolutely worthless.
Yeah. Along for the ride. Yeah, Heroes. I enjoy that one for the fun factor of just getting to play as your favorite.
ETC.
Yeah, your favorite Blizzard characters. I mean, come on, that's just worth the price of admission alone, even though it's a free game. But yeah, playing as your
Time.
favorite Warcraft characters or StarCraft characters or Diablo characters, super cool. But yeah, I mean that wraps it up for me. You guys have anything else you need to share? No? Okay. Well, next week we'll be back here on Thursday with a topic to talk about. So make sure you subscribe. Check out the website, showboysmedia.com. Check out our Patreon, patreon.com/showboyspodcast. And we'll see you next week. We hope you guys have a good weekend. And I should play the song now.
Oh man, found this article again. I was trying to find it during the episode, and I remembered when I was trying to find it, but it's the cringiest lines from Rings of Power.
Oh yes.
Oh yeah.
Give me a good one. Let's end it with a good one.
Oh, here's the good one. You have not seen what I have seen. I have seen my share. You have not seen what I have seen. She just repeated the line that she said already.